She made it. Freida Pinto. And to present the Shining Star Award 2017 for the Maui Film Festival, Barry Rivers.
Hello, hello, hello. So this is the 2017 Maui Film Festival Shining Star Award presented to you for daring to dream big dreams and for delivering brilliantly charismatic performances. That's brilliantly charismatic performances. I just woke up. The Red Bull just kicked in, and taking advantage of them to bring wonderful work to people around the world. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
go ahead.
you.
Yeah. Can I just feed on our own?
Oh, you sit here. And here comes your mic.
Thank you. Thank you. It's not easy watching your own work.
You said that last night. I can't believe that.
I was in Wendy's arms, like, cover me, please, I can't watch this and I can't hear this. It's just hard. It's just hard. I'm really grateful for everything that I've done and the growth and the maturity that I see in my performances, but it's just really hard making someone watch themselves on a big screen like this in front of you lovely people.
Well, it makes an awful lot of us very happy to watch you. You're here, from the clips, it's obvious that you have made films and have traveled the world. Is this your first trip to Maui?
This is my first trip to Maui.
Okay,
yes.
What do you think?
I think with every place that I go to, it's the people that first make it for me because they're the first people that greet you, whether it's at the airports or the hotel, in this case, the people at the film festival, and everyone's just been so kind and so welcoming and so relaxed, actually, which is something that you don't really see at a film festival. So in terms of how I feel about the place, the people first made it for me, and then, of course, everything that you have here, it's like paradise, and I kind of want to move here. Yeah.
It has that effect on people.
I'm sure I'm not the first one who said that, right? Yeah.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
A past honoree said all his friends came here and then sold all their stuff and moved here. So
moved here.
you're welcome to come.
Okay.
We would love it. The clip reel, in case you didn't see it, it ended kind of where your career began with Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah.
Can you, that launched your career, really?
It did, yes.
Turning
That was
point
my
for you.
first film ever.
First film ever?
Ever. Yeah.
So how did Danny Boyle come to find you and cast you for it?
It was a regular casting process. It was a 6-month audition that happened over and over again, once a month, sometimes twice a month. And what he wanted to do was give everybody a fair chance. So he was reading almost 3,000 girls from different parts of India and I believe America and England as well. And I think by the 4th or the 5th month of the audition process, I became so obsessed with the character. I thought this was me. You know, Latika is me, and I have to play her somehow or the other, even if it meant killing everybody else. No, that's not true. And I think maybe somewhere he saw the passion in me, and I'm so grateful for him, and so grateful for someone who gave me this chance, being not trained, never been to a film school. Just all I had was plain passion, and I'm so glad he spotted it.
Well, what gave you the idea that you could do that? And where did the passion come from?
I think the passion was ever since I could watch and understand what film was. You know, I could let myself be drawn into the fantasy of escaping into the cinematic world. So yeah, when I was really young, I would stand in front of the mirror and imitate some of the actors from India that I would see in film and television, and would dance, and was just always a very dramatic child. So my parents always said to me that if I ended up becoming a doctor, they'd be really worried because they knew that my passion lay somewhere else. And I think it was when I was 18 years old, I watched this film Monster, which has Charlize Theron in it, directed by Patty Jenkins. And that was the first time I realized that acting was very transformative, where you kind of completely surrender yourself and let yourself breathe life into these new characters that are so sometimes far removed from your own, you know, the people that you have to empathize with and step into their shoes. And sometimes those shoes are not always pretty. They're uncomfortable. And so when I watched a performance, that's the first time I realized that if I ever wanted to do this for a living, I would want to do it working with people who would let me transform myself with every character I played.
That film went on to win all kinds of awards, including Best Picture Oscar. But it was basically your on-the-job training, your first exposure to filmmaking. What sense did you have of working in this medium?
Before I got onto this job, I didn't even understand the word speed. You know, they say camera speed, rolling, and I was like, speed? What does that mean? Do I run? So it was, so it was a very daunting process. So like you said, everything was about learning, just being absorbing on the job. You know, picking up whatever I could on the job. But after the film came out, the whole process of promoting it was brand new to me, and it was like an Alice in Wonderland kind of situation. You know, I had no idea what was happening. These cameras and being dressed up and walking red carpets and whatnot. You know, and it was definitely not as relaxed as it is over here. I wish this was the first film festival that I was. I was like, then I'd be too spoiled. So it was about just embracing everything that just came my way. And one of the things that I did realize through this entire process is when you're given an opportunity like this, you're given an opportunity for a reason. And if you let it slip by, it might never come back, because this is also a very fickle industry. You know, you kind of get discovered, and then you can go from like hero to zero in seconds. So I realized that I needed to surround myself with the right group of people who would guide me and send me down the right path and help understand what it is that I really wanted to do. And just strike while the iron's hot. Yeah.
But you've had an amazing range of roles. Now, how much freedom did you have in that? Were scripts just coming to you, or did you have to go seek out projects?
Yeah, I think with Slumdog, it definitely did open doors and opportunities came my way. But I was really careful about not letting myself get stereotyped or typecast, because that's very common, especially with an ethnic minority actor, who people have not really seen as much in film and television, like people from my part of the world. And the only roles that, you know, up until that point that you saw them in were the terrorist or the nurse or the doctor, and hardly nothing more than being one-dimensional. So I really wanted to, and there were a few characters, of course, that that were really good, like films like Namesake and Monsoon Wedding, few films. But yeah, I was very conscious that I did not want to fall into that trap. So what we did was very consciously try to stay away from the big budget films and just do meaningful indie cinema. And my second film right after Slumdog happened to be the Julian Schnabel film, which I shot in Israel. So yes, I think it's really hard, you know, making those choices and trusting that these are the right choices. But I think once you're driven by instinct and passion, you've got to just surrender everything else.
But you talk about stereotypes, and yet it seems as though your roles are exploring complexity, especially we saw a little bit of Gorilla there. Can you tell us about what that's about? It seems to be struggling with a real conflict that defies easy solutions.
Right. Gorilla, you know, it took a while to even arrive at that. There was 2.5 years of going absolutely quiet before something like that even came my way, because like you said, complexity was very, very important for me to play. And I asked people, like, why is it okay to see men playing morally conflicted characters in lead roles, but not women? You know, why can't women be morally conflicted and complex? And accepted at the same time for doing that. So when John Ridley and Gorilla came my way, I realized with jazz, first of all, it addresses something that is very current, an issue that is cyclical, and you keep seeing it keeps happening over and over again. It's happening in America at the moment with immigration. It's happening in England. It happened, you know, with Brexit, and it's set in the 1970s. It's set against the 1971 Immigration Act, and so with this character, I really got to play something against type that I have never had the opportunity up until that time to play that character. And it's really about consequences. You know, it's no matter what situation you are in or the pressure that you're under, certain actions or certain decisions that people make, which is for everyone, for the humanity in general, there are consequences to that. And that is what the show really explores.
It does, and do you think we've evolved from the 70s? The issues that you're playing out there, have we learned anything from that?
I think there has been a fair share of evolution to even come up with, okay, we do need to talk about this, and we do need to address this matter and make a show on it. And this is a TV show, you know, if people can't digest a TV show, how will you digest reality? It's actually happening. So yes, there is a fair share of evolution, and there is a fair share of ignorance as well at the same time. And the way I look at the world without being a cynic or, you know, trying to look at things negatively, there's good and bad that exist at the same time, and it's about trying to balance it. You know, it's not about killing all good, killing all bad. Almost it's difficult to see that happen if you're trying to be very realistic, but to kind of balance it.
Now, at the other end of the spectrum, you have starred in some big budget special effects films and with large animals. And I imagine that a lot of that filmmaking involved green screens and things that weren't there when you were acting. What's that like?
It's interesting. You're basically talking to a disco ball or a tennis ball, depending on. With Rise of the Planet of the Apes, we had this like big silver ball that was Caesar, and I had to pet it and take it for a walk. And sometimes there was nothing. I was just like holding air and walking around. So it's all fascinating, you know. And when you see the end result and you see how people love the end result, you realize that, you know, at the end of the day, it's all about imagination, and it's all about letting your imagination go wild. So for me, those experiences were great. In fact, I got an opportunity to work once again with Andy Serkis, who is in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and I'm so excited for Jungle Book that comes out next year. It's the Warner Brothers Jungle Book. Again, a lot of imagination, going out in the wild with bigger animals, like you just said. And I don't know, that's such a, you know, I love escaping. You know, after a long, like what we're all doing right now, you know, we all had a long, tiring day, and this is kind of a little bit of an escape. So when something like that is presented with so much beauty and imagination, it's just kind of, it makes your work a little lighter.
You mentioned Jungle Book. Tell us a little bit about that project and other things on the horizon ahead of you.
I don't know anything about the project because I haven't seen it, except for the fact that I'm really excited about it. I love the Jungle Book. One of the reasons why I really wanted to be part of the movie, besides Andy Serkis directing it, was the fact that Jungle Book was written in India. Kipling wrote it in India. And at the age of 15, when I was done with school, I told my dad that as my graduation gift, I want him to take me to the same national park where Kipling wrote the Jungle Book. So for me, it was like, you know, coming full circle and being part of a film, being part of a story that I really loved growing up. And besides that, I have a bunch of exciting things that that are around the corner. I will be moving on to another TV show that I'm really excited about, and a couple of indie films are on the horizon. So yeah, it's fun. It's good to be working. It's good to be busy, and hopefully some of my films come back here.
Now I know that. Yeah. I know for all the impressive work you've done on the screen, you're also involved in things off the screen that involve having an effect on your world. Can you tell us a little bit about that work that you're doing?
Yeah, that work for me is hardly work. It's almost like a responsibility that I feel that I'm in this position where I've been given a platform and people listen to me and people value the words that come out of my mouth. So why don't I get educated about things that are pressing in our world? And the thing that I'm very focused on is girls' education, especially in the marginalized parts of the world, in the developing world. And it's always one of the things that, you know, through our research, we realize, whether it's war, whether it's calamities, natural calamities, whether it's any kind of economic depression, it's always women and young girls, adolescent girls, who are always the most marginalized and who are the first ones to be at risk to be taken out of school or to not even see school to begin with. So one of the things that I think is very important for me is to work with organizations and groups that educate and make people aware of how they can help. We're all in the kind of a position of privilege, and it would be almost wrong in a way to not use a little bit of our privilege to benefit and help someone else. So girls, thank you. Thank you. So I enjoy doing that work. And one of the things, actually, it's really selfish, because I might think that I'm actually going out there and helping them. But when I travel to various places where we see the on-ground work to do the field trips, I remember being in Ethiopia, and everyone was like, "Oh, so how do you inspire these girls?" And I go, "Wait a minute. Actually, it's really the other way around. I leave a trip like this being inspired by them because they have so little. And with that so little, they still make the most of it. And they're so grateful for every little thing that comes their way. So really, they're the ones who inspire me. And their passion and their drive inspires me to keep doing what I'm doing."
Well, we all hope that you keep doing what you're doing on the screen, but also off the screen in terms of making the world a better place. So thanks so much for being here. It's really an honor.
Thank you so much.